It's my distinct honor and pleasure to be here with some great colleagues. Of course, Senator Joseph Lieberman, Roberta Benazzi, August Hanning, Jerry Snyder, and Mark Simmonds. We're here today while many of our countries are in mourning. Very sad events we see have transpired around the world, whether it be in my country, the United States of America, mourning the loss of people that were visiting a church and in Bible study, the horrible events that happened in France just the other day, the tragedies in Tunisia and in Kuwait. I guess the timing is right, but sad timing and a tragic timing, but an important timing. And really the purpose of this event is to announce what we think is a very important transatlantic global partnership of uniting the best experts in the areas of counter-extremism. We've seen the terrorist and extremist chord dominate the world as terrorist events and terrorist propaganda spreads throughout the world.
Mark Simmonds, former Foreign Office Minister and former MP for Skegness and Boston. Obviously, a very important event today concerning the reaction to the rise of extremism. You yourself were an MP in that constituency for 14 years. Did you find that extremism was on the rise where you were?
No, I don't think there was extremism, but there was no doubt that there were tensions that existed in the respective communities, particularly with the very large influx of Eastern European economic migrants who came to work in the communities in Lincolnshire. But what I'm doing here today is to support the launch of the counter-extremism project in Europe, where we're focusing on three particular areas. One is to put in place a strategy to deal with the use of social media by extremists. The second is to make sure that we put in place a counter-narrative to stop the recruitment. And the third is to try and provide support to governments, particularly in my instance the UK government, to help them build the necessary legislation and the regulatory architecture to ensure that the communities are supported whilst at the same time stopping extremism taking hold.
Given the UK's relationship with the EU at present and its somewhat, potentially vexed future, do you feel that people may start looking for extremism where there is none?
No, I don't see that at all. And of course, what the counter-extremism project is about is all types of extremism, not just the extremism that comes from ISIL, but also we raised at the press conference today extremism that happened in the United States of America, other far-right groups as well. And this is about collecting and collating best practice from around the world to infuse both into the counter-extremism project, but also governments, other not-for-profit organisations as social enterprises, so we can provide support from the private sector to governments to provide a comprehensive and cohesive strategy and solution to this challenge, which is a real challenge, not just in Europe, but across the world.
But is there not a danger that you might be facing a losing battle, given the obvious extreme rise of the use of Facebook by extremists, Facebook and obviously Twitter in particular? Don't these institutions and organisations need to be brought more under control?
Well, you're right that social media is being used by extremist organisations not just to contact and influence people, but also spread their perverse ideology. And it's certainly our view that the social media networks need to do more. They need to do more to shut down these communication mechanisms and also to make sure that ideology cannot be spread and in effect be weaponized in this way. And we shall certainly be continuing to put pressure on social media outlets as well as governments to effectively advocate for a clampdown and for greater cooperation.